I am the top agent for Laura the Movie Queen. On the red carpet, she confessed to dating her first love, a D-list actor, even though they had been together for 6 years, and dared not disclose it to the public. I've grown into the circle's largest cuckold ever since. She later lost both fame and money, sobbing and pleading with me to save her from the abyss while kneeling in front of me. However, I smiled and left no trace as I walked away with my true love. Sorry, you're blocking the way of the real movie queen of my house. This is the 6th year of my secret relationship with movie queen Laura. When we first started dating, Laura said that, for the sake of her acting career, it was better not to make our relationship public. As her agent, I agreed. And just on our 6th anniversary, Laura's first love, Makoto, came back. Everyone in the circle knows that this little first love is the white moonlight in Laura's heart. Back then, Laura broke up with her family for the sake of being with Makoto, causing a big scene in the circle. Because Makoto, though handsome, came from a family with a bad reputation, all of them were thieves. Which parents in this world would want their precious daughter to marry into such a family? In the end, they are still separated after all reality is always cruel. When Makoto boarded the ferry leaving the country, Laura chased after him crying, but only saw his determined back. He didn't even leave a word for her. Since then, Makoto has become a thorn in Laura's heart. Later, Laura's family sent her into the entertainment industry to act, and this unpleasant love history was buried by time. As the AC agent of an entertainment company, I got to know her, and we became close. Laura said she fell in love with me at first sight and pursued me actively for a long time before we got together. Because of my connections in the circle, she was able to easily participate in the literary films produced by top directors and won the Best Actress award. On the awards night, she stood on stage thanking me tearfully, but only as her agent. That was Laura's first award. She was so happy that night, drinking a lot with me. After drinking too much, she drunkenly threw herself onto the bed, hugging my waist and not letting go like a spoiled child. Marco, am I standing high enough now? Can you see me? Don't leave me, okay? Marco. Laura's hands trembled as she gently touched my face, but it seemed like she was looking at someone else in her eyes. How could I leave you, baby? I laughed foolishly with her back then, thinking she was just thrilled about getting the honor. I didn't know how much I resembled Makoto until I saw him later. It was at the point where one could confuse the two with only a thin veil. It makes sense why she claimed to have fallen in love with me right away, and why she was so emotional and spoke to me in a reverent tone that evening. Marco is my name, and Makoto is his. Marco. Makoto. That's why she didn't call my name. He has been the person in her heart for all these years. And what about me, Marco, who has dedicated so much of my life to Laura's profession over the years? I serve as an insignificant substitute, a mere speck that can never compare to the brilliance of the moon. It's just absurd. Makoto and I reunited on a talent show. Makoto competed, and Laura served as the episode's special guest mentor. His flawless poise abruptly broke down when he spotted Laura on stage, and he even fumbled his maneuvers. You contestant, should you go home and sell sweet potatoes because you dance like that? Are you nervous on stage, or haven't you practiced enough? Being a star isn't for you. All the mentors harshly criticized his unprofessionalism because he had no backing. Makoto bit his lip in disappointment, looking longingly at the only silent judge, Laura. I stood in front of the backstage TV watching Laura sitting there. Although she didn't speak up for him, her eyes were red. The joy of reuniting after a long time and the grievances over the years. Even as a movie queen, she couldn't control her emotions. It was an expression I had never seen in all these years. Seeing her like that, my heart suddenly felt sour and bitter, like eating an unripe plum, extremely uncomfortable. Originally, Makoto was supposed to be eliminated from the show, but due to Laura's strong request, he was kept. The entertainment industry is always dark. That night, all the contestants who advanced were sent to a banquet. Laura and I were also there. It was full of influential bigwigs and old bosses, old in age, but not in their desires. Makoto, being handsome and having eyes that seemed to flirt unconsciously, was very popular among these old lechers. Soon, a greasy, obese woman wanted to be his sugar mama, insisting he drink wine mouth to mouth with her. "Oh, handsome boy, come here and serve your auntie." Makoto was frightened by the obese woman's sneer and beckoning, which made me feel schadenfreudy. However, I soon lost the ability to chuckle. Makoto's response lacked the intensity of Laura's. She grabbed my fingers beneath the table and bit her lip as she watched Makoto get humiliated. Perhaps she wasn't even aware of it herself, but my palm was bleeding after her sharp red nails sank into my flesh. Laura was unable to contain herself just as the obese woman's full lips were ready to meet Makoto's. "Enough, what are you doing? It's disgusting. My biggest embarrassment is going to this banquet." Without saying anything, she pushed me hard, grabbed the red wine in front of her, and splattered it on the obese woman's face. "Laura, you're drunk," sensing trouble. I quickly tried to stop her, but she ignored me, holding Makoto's hand and walking out without looking back. The others at the table looked at each other, and the fat woman's face turned terrifyingly dark. I thought to myself, this is it, we're done. The fat woman was the show's biggest investor, and Laura had completely offended her. Laura left with Makoto, leaving the mess to me. That night, to apologize to her, I didn't know how much I drank. I ended up with a bleeding stomach. Clutching my stomach and collapsing on the floor, their words echoed in my ears. "Marco isn't Laura your woman? Being cuckolded in front of everyone feels better than this wine, doesn't it? You can't even control the woman you made famous. What kind of man are you?" I felt someone touch my face. It was the following day when I woke up, and I was in the hospital. A girl, likely a lovely waitress, brought me here, according to the nurse. My phone was in my pocket when I grabbed it. All night long, Laura didn't send any messages. She seemed to have forgotten everything because of Makoto's appearance. I took out the IV and left the hospital with my coat, since I didn't have the heart to recover. Laura's car was in the yard when I returned to her house. Perfect. I had something to share with her regarding the renewal of my contract as well as our relationship. "Makoto, don't go, please." Hearing Makoto, I stopped in my tracks, seeing the two entangled in the yard. Laura clung tightly to Makoto from behind, her eyes red, pleading and acting spoiled. She had never treated me with such a look. "You already have a fiancé. Do you know that after being sent abroad by your family by force, I was beaten by violent foreigners every day and barely escaped with my life? Otherwise, I'd be dead." You said, "I came back just to survive." You started seeing that man right away after leaving me, and you dated him for 6 years. From my perspective, Makoto's expression was smug, like a small man accomplishing his goals, but his tone was cold and resentful, as if he had truly suffered a lot abroad. "I don't understand why my poverty made your mother look down on me." Laura became even more anxious, clinging to him like an octopus. "No, I don't love him. That man, who is merely my agent, is not someone I adore. I don't desire him anymore because Makoto just looks a little bit like you. My heart has always been yours. All I want is you. I'll switch agents to fix everything." "Fine, fine." The formerly arrogant movie queen's humility was unexpected. Nobody would have believed that I, Marco, the top entertainment business agent, was a stand-in. I made significant contributions to Laura's career, only to have them replaced. My hands shook into fists, and my eyes turned crimson as I saw them embrace and kiss in the yard. "Laura, I never forgot you either." Makoto smiled and kissed Laura, looking at me with victory in his eyes. I sneered, didn't push the door open, and walked away. Well, may you two, a pretentious coquette and a simp, be together forever. Laura between us, who replaced who, isn't certain yet. Since that day, negative news and gossip about Laura have been constantly emerging online. Among the most sensational was the rumor that she was allegedly keeping a young lover hidden in a luxurious apartment. A few days ago, paparazzi caught her little boyfriend, the same Makoto whom Laura had staunchly supported on the talent show. Makoto's dark past was soon uncovered by netizens. For instance, both his parents had been imprisoned for theft. Makoto had impregnated a classmate in high school, dropped out and became a street thug, and so on. Public opinion was boiling over, with the internet full of insults towards this disgraced celebrity, and Laura's fans were also publicly denouncing her. What Laura chose such a boyfriend? He's just a scumbag. You don't understand. It's just like, a rotten pot with a rotten lid. Two of a kind. Laura must be trash too. I used to think she and her agent were a couple. The agent is so handsome, she must be blind. In the past, as soon as such rumors started to surface, I would have had the PR department handle it. But this time I didn't intervene, allowing the scandal between Laura and Makoto to dominate the top search results. From an agent's perspective, an artist with ulterior motives should be left to grow wild like weeds outside. Over time, a wildfire will naturally burn her to the ground. From the perspective of a lover of 6 years, Laura was the one who was unkind first, so she couldn't blame me, Marco, for watching indifferently. Colleagues and old friends from the industry saw the news and called to ask me about it. I simply responded over the phone, "I'm not sure. Laura and I have already ended our contract." 3 days later, Laura called me while the internet debate was still going strong. The online insults directed at me have the potential to escalate significantly. Marco, what kind of agent are you? Are you simply wasting your time doing nothing, or are all these online attacks against me that you're doing? You are truly malicious. On the other end of the line, she was furious and relentless with her scolding. The online abuse over the past few days drove her mad, and she suddenly remembered she had an agent. But did you ever think of me, your boyfriend of 6 years, when you were having fun with your white moonlight these past days? Miss Laura, do you ever think of me, your boyfriend of 6 years, when you were having fun with your white moonlight these past days? Miss Laura, I think you've been too busy to remember. I calmly faced her outburst while sneering on the other end of the phone. Our contract expired a long time ago. I had no idea when it expired, you said, just as you were getting all romantic with your white moonlight. Taking advantage of the silence, I went on. After adding, "We're finished in terms of work and feelings." I hung up and blocked her number, feeling wonderfully calm and at peace with myself. A crowded field of microphones, blinding flashlights, and combative reporters asked. Laura smiled shyly and cuddled up to Makoto, who smirked and kissed her in front of the cameras. "Let's keep it a secret for now. I want to announce this good news on the award stage," Makoto said. However, he claimed that it essentially validated their love. The internet doesn't have a good memory, because those who knew me laughed while I stood nearby. After all, everyone in the circle had known that I was Laura's lover for the previous 6 years, and suddenly I was the famous cuckold. A reporter seemed to read my mind as I was thinking this and said, "I heard that Laura's agent, Mr. Marco, has always been rumored to be her partner. Is this true, or is your relationship with Makoto an affair?" Laura's face turned pale, and she looked uncontrollably towards my corner, which attracted the attention of the reporters, who then thrust microphones in front of me. "Ah, Mr. Wang is here too," she said. "Please respond briefly." Laura's stare was more menacing than frightening, and it felt like needles in my body. She was worried that I might say something in public that would hurt her and Makoto. However, I would never lose my cool in front of the cameras as she did, and I didn't want to draw criticism, so I simply grinned politely. "Sorry, I have resigned." Leaving only those words, I walked away. Mister, here is the list of winners for tonight, Wang. I took the list that the organizers had given me when I was sitting in the backstage room. Laura's name appeared in the Best Actress column. Yes, I did recall. Since we weren't yet at odds, her underwhelming film might win an award thanks to my contacts. Now, however, she recklessly broke off our relationship. She believed she was the entertainment industry's queen after winning Best Actress, yet she wasn't even deserving to be a foot washer hope. Someone like her is worthy of being Best Actress. Pointing at Laura's name, I coldly looked at the organizers, making them tremble. After all, they got the hosting rights because of my influence. Then shall we change it? They cautiously tried to please me. I nodded, my gaze scanning a row of actresses, finally settling on a familiar face, feeling a surge of emotion. No, let's choose based on merit. As planned, the award ceremony got underway, and soon it was time to reveal the winner of Best Actress. I looked back nonchalantly from my seat in the front row. And now, the winner of the Best Actress at this film festival is. Laura was confident enough to slightly straighten her posture because of my earlier assurance. Haha, idiot. You've already betrayed me, and you still think I'd let you win the award and tell the world that you cuckolded me? Or do you think you have what it takes to win Best Actress? The Best Actress is. Let's congratulate Lisa. The camera panned on a calm, radiant woman who appeared stunned, took a moment to stand up, and smiled as she accepted the award. Marco, what do you mean? You made it obvious that the Best Actress award was mine. Can you not bear to witness my happiness after all these years of knowing each other? Laura blocked my path on the way to the bathroom, her face twisted with rage. I looked at her gorgeous face, which used to be a source of affection but now only disgusted me. I've told you before, Laura, you became a Best Actress because the man behind you was me. I gave her a contemptuous glare and a dismissive stare that struck her haughty pride hard. Her face turned frenzied with shame as she spoke, and she even raised her hand to hit me. I grabbed her hand sharply and slapped her back, leaving a red mark on her face. You dare hit a woman? You bastard, you just want revenge, right? She said, clutching her face and staring at me in shock. Haha, let me tell you, I'll be fine without you. Wiping my hand as though it were soiled, I hissed. I don't hit good women, but for a slut like you, I hit one when I see one. Get lost. This is the men's restroom. Would you like to be featured in tomorrow's news? Laura attacks men's restrooms. Watching her flee in panic, I spat and prepared to return to the venue. Marco. But I recognized the voice in the corridor. Lisa was my first love, and when I turned around, she was quietly staring at me in a white gown. Did you give me this award? Marco, are you going to use this award to crush me again? In an attempt to obtain film investments, we met at a banquet. The production crew called in Lisa, an actress, to perform a supporting part. However, the coal boss investor mocked her for attempting to exploit her. Lisa, the national goddess, has a jasmine-pure face. Like tenacious reeds, she refused to give in even though her face was hot at the time from the man's humiliation. She was pushed into the table in a rage and subjected to numerous vile accusations after refusing the coal boss's hotel card. The coal boss had money and nobody dared to move until me, so I'll take care of you right now. Stupid slut out here to entertain. What are you pretending for? I grabbed a bottle of wine and slammed it into the old pervert's head, unsure if the scarlet liquid was blood or wine. Zhao acting like a hooligan in front of me. Isn't that too much? The man rolled on the ground in pain. I squatted, patting his face. When he saw my face clearly, he gasped and fled. I am Marco, the sole heir of the Wang business empire. Being an agent was just my hobby. Lisa was very grateful for my rescue, and we became wonderful friends. At first, I was curious because In the entertainment industry, few women remain pure. But Lisa was famous for not succumbing to the unspoken rules. So despite her breathtaking beauty, she could only get small roles. I love acting, not being a star. She gave me this response, which was precisely what I was looking for. I gazed at Lisa, whose dazzling phoenix eyes gleamed like stars in the sky with love and hopes, and I could remove the brightest star from the sky with ease. She became both my girlfriend and my artist, of course. When she faced me, she was a quiet, unassuming girl, but to her devotees, she was the high cold goddess, as graceful and pure as a swan. I could often feel her softly quivering shyly, cuddling in my arms as I kissed her and held her slim waist in the middle of the night. Marco, I love you. I love you so much. Every time Lisa expressed her love for me, her gentle voice evoked a sweetness that no man could resist. So every night, the kisses became more passionate and the love more intense. But later, we broke up. During those years, my connections and manipulations made Lisa a valuable asset in the entertainment industry. During this period, I proposed that our breakup should be as drastic as possible. Without me to rely on, Lisa's resources plummeted, and she returned to playing minor roles subject to the whims of others. Why, Marco? Yesterday you were talking about proposing to me. Today isn't April Fool's Day. It's not a humorous joke. Lisa shivered and asked me questions, her eyes watering. Our unexplainable split was the reason, not the crew's frigid treatment of her. Words of hurt came out as I turned my head away, unwilling to look at her. Why? I've grown weary of you. A little sweetness, a wave of the hand, and you come running. Lisa, look at your background. I'm the reason you have everything. An average girl would have sobbed and fled at my vicious remarks, but instead she stood there staring at me. What rights do you have to be with me? Lisa shook her head, her sorrow-filled crimson eyes flowing against the flow. She came up and hugged me while her tears soaked my clothes. For the once proud woman, this was the most modest position. You are aware that I was not with you for fame or money, so I am skeptical. If you are truly as you claim, why did you rescue me at that time? I lifted her chin and delivered a humiliating slap to her face while sneering. I pushed her away with force and threw $1 million check in her direction. Lisa remained motionless as I walked away, without turning around, uttering the words, "Get lost. Breakup fee. Keep it." The amusement is palpable. As I silently gazed out the window at the countryside, the young master sobbed with the rain. Only the driver that day knew. Marco, are you planning to use this award to crush me again? Years later, I met her again in this arena of fame and fortune. The power of the white moonlight is indeed immense, and Lisa, who once resembled a delicate jasmine, now looked more like an enchanting white rose. My heart raced uncontrollably the moment I saw her. My heart was pounding hard, just as it had a few hours ago when I saw her face backstage. People don't fall into the same river twice. Finally, I said, "No, this is what you deserve." These words resonated deeply within me. After our breakup, Lisa endured all these years on her own. She is an excellent actress among the line of actresses, deserving of a Best Actress award more than a vase like Laura. Her eyes and eyebrows were exactly as I remembered them after a decade. Or do you see me as a tool to make Laura jealous? Laura, what does she have to do with this? Lisa asked, her eyes slightly red in the face as she bit her lip. I scowled and shook my head, saying only, "How can you compare to her?" I meant that a superficial vase like Laura could never compare to her. Lisa abruptly scowled at what I had said and left, becoming even angrier as she lifted her dress in annoyance. Sigh, her rage has just gotten worse after all these years apart. I sighed as I watched her return, beginning to long for the timid young woman she once was. Congratulations on winning Best Actress. In the empty hallway, I called out to her. The only response was the sound of her high heels clacking away, seemingly stomping harder in response to my words. However, her adorable demeanor persisted. News of Lisa winning Best Actress quickly hit the entertainment headlines. An actress without any backing or connections achieving such success would inevitably attract rumors, especially since this time she had offended the narrow minded Laura. For a while, headlines such as Lisa steals Laura's Best Actress title and Lisa becomes a toy for a big shot flooded the internet. With Laura secretly hiring internet trolls to manipulate public opinion, the online comments were overwhelmingly negative. Oh my god, she's so shameless. This Best Actress award belonged to Laura. How can this attractive vixen be so hateful? Yes, I have heard that Laura was the initial recipient of the prize, but Lisa grabbed it instead. The trophy even had her name inscribed on it, but Lisa grabbed it. Laura was devastated. Lisa, get out of the entertainment industry. Lisa, get out of the entertainment industry. Lisa, get out of the entertainment industry. The overwhelming negative news, vicious insults, and filthy language weighed down Lisa like a mountain. Overnight, she took on the role of the greatest sinner, enduring the brunt of Laura's misfortunes. I scrolled through the absurdity of the online world in my office, coldly smiling. Brother Wang, is it time? My assistant knocked on my front door. I gave a nod. The time had come. But watching the movie, Lisa's performance was indeed excellent. She brought the small role to life much better than that vase, Laura. Has everyone forgotten what Laura said on the red carpet? Laura said she had good news to announce on stage during the red carpet interview, but no one should have known who the actual winner was at the time. How could she be so certain she'd be on stage? Dear audience, have you figured out who the real protagonist of this drama is? This influential blogger's words changed public opinion at the height of the insults. But Lisa must have a backer because I'm a staff member, and I saw her backstage being overly familiar with a high-ranking man. Are there any pure women in the entertainment industry? If she's innocent, she should prove it. The opportunistic internet users responded. As it turned out, my remarks enraged Makoto, who was just a thug. He pushed Laura out of the way and swung his fist at me. I wouldn't even get a finger dirty dealing with someone like him, so I pointed behind him and said, "Oh, look, when did the reporters get here?" Makoto's attitude changed to one of obedience the moment the reporters were mentioned. Laura had worked hard to repair his reputation by dismissing his past scandals as gossip. Makoto became enraged and pounced at me like a humanless beast when he turned around and realized that there was no one behind him. "You dared to trick me," he said, his face twisting back into a snarl. His fist was about to make contact when there was a loud click. There were actual reporters this time. Makoto punched me, but the camera caught his aggressive actions in real time. Laura abruptly undid all her laborious attempts to restore his reputation, forcing them to begin anew. After the reporters left, Laura softened her tone and hugged herself as she bargained with me. "Marco, we've known each other for a long time. Do you need to push me this far? If you're still angry and jealous, I'll apologize. If you want, I can." "Laura, it's morning. Do you think I'm still pining for you and willing to be your secret lover like before? It's time to get out of your reverie." Sincerely charmed by her boldness, I interrupted her. It was the most shameless person I had ever seen. Laura continued to yell at me as security walked her out, saying, "Marco, if you help Lisa bully me, I will make sure neither of you has it easy. It is yet unknown who will make whose life tough. Hiss, be gentle." Lisa's application of medication to my wound caused some discomfort. I had no idea how long she had been staring from outside the door following the previous noise. It was only after everyone had left that she arrived. Lisa's hand shook slightly as she applied the medication. Now you feel the pain. Why didn't you dodge the punch earlier? Did it make your heart hurt? You're such a smooth talker. I I wasn't worried. Her eyes flushed instead of resisting when I held her hand. Laura targeted you, and I'm sorry you had to suffer, Lisa. Upon hearing this, Lisa's previously unwavering demeanor abruptly softened, revealing a deeply hurt expression. After all, Lisa earned this award purely on her merit, but Laura's enraged jealousy subjected her to online abuse. All those insults, like snowflakes, slowly gathered into a snowball that could crush a person completely. Lisa had been bearing all this alone without confiding in anyone. My single expression of concern made her emotions completely collapse. She sniffled and cried as she threw herself into my arms. I stroked her hair and gently wiped away her sparkling tears. Lissy, let's get back together. I held Lisa tightly as if she were a precious treasure. Those 6 years with Laura, although fulfilling, left me with a sense of disconnection without the feeling of love for a long time. Until the day I reunited with her, my heart pounded, and I understood the meaning of love. Are you lying to me again, Marco? Are you going to deceive me like before? Are you going to lift me high and then let me fall hard again? Lisa wiped her tears, questioning me softly, but still unwilling to leave my warm embrace. Is your father's uremia cured? Hearing this, Lisa froze. She didn't expect me to know about it. A kind person helped. How did you find out? Is it possible? With a sigh, I told her everything that had happened in the past. For a long time, I had suppressed my feelings of resentment. Lisa's father had uremia at the time and desperately needed a kidney to survive. Her career was at its height at the moment, but she didn't advise me not to worry. In the meantime, someone told my father about my friendship with Lisa. With her connections, where could she get a kidney that would work? He exploited his disdain for actresses as a businessman to force me to leave Lisa. My father's commanding face is still in my memory. He promised to assist in finding Lisa's father a suitable kidney and to pay for all the costs provided I left that woman and agreed to Laura's pursuit. I hadn't yet taken over the company at that point. I felt compelled to deliver the harshest reprimands I could. I became aware that my chest was moist as I talked. Lisa was crying, as I could see by looking down. It reminded me of the last time I ended our relationship. Lisa, do you still blame me? I tenderly ran my hand over her face. With her voice still stifled by sobs, she struck me lightly with her fist and muttered, I do blame you. Lisa and I reconciled, but the news burst once again. I blame you for not telling me earlier. Shamelessly, Woman Hooks Up with Wang Family's Old Boss Caught in the Act of Being a Mistress was the title this time. The accompanying video does show Lisa getting into a Wang Group vehicle, including some hazy, suggestive footage. When I checked, I discovered that it was a video from a TV drama from more than a decade ago, with faces artificially altered to resemble Lisa and my father. The responses were even more intriguing. I forwarded a link to the group's legal department as soon as I ended the video. Makoto texted me in the interim saying, You're still far from being able to fight us. These fools who applaud in the entertainment industry are so simple. However, they were kicking a steel plate for daring to tamper with my dad and the Wang Group. I instructed Lisa to remain silent while the Wang Group issued 2 news releases, despite the ongoing online disturbance. One contained a lawyer's letter and an official declaration that we would take legal action against the rumor mongers. We explicitly gave the names of the defendants, Laura and Makoto. The other was a formal declaration of our partnership. The message was brief, just a few words, and included a photo of our marriage license. No backing, just a good wife. Being on the first page of a large corporation's website for 7 days is in my opinion, the most respectable way to declare love. And after all the complaints Lisa had suffered over the years, I wanted to give her this respect. However, this was far from sufficient. I brought up several of the earlier scandals involving Laura and Makoto by using my contacts in the entertainment sector. All of her dishonest behavior, including her phony donations and award winning, which I had previously repressed, suddenly surfaced. And overnight, Makoto's meticulously constructed new image fell apart. He still harbored resentment at the obese woman who'd made advances on him during the banquet. She prepared a shocking revelation, exposing Makoto's many transgressions overseas. Back then, Laura's family did not drive Makoto away. In addition to staying abroad and hooking up with an American woman, he had stolen money from Laura's family. Additionally, the timeline indicates that he was with the American woman while still being in a relationship with Laura. The two even produced a mixed-race son who lived a carefree life abroad. He returned this time to arrange a reunion with Laura after being caught cheating when his American partner was pregnant, battered by foreigners, and running away. As we read the full story on the web, I hugged Lisa and couldn't help but cheer. It was a fantastic story, far more dramatic than any film I've ever seen. The police are looking for Laura and Makoto for malicious slander. Once everything became public, Laura and Makoto reportedly engaged in a heated argument. Laura lost control of her temper and stabbed Makoto in the stomach. When the police showed up at their house to take them into custody, they discovered Laura missing and Makoto barely alive, lying in a pool of blood. It was a devastating development that the former movie queen had become a fugitive. She was no longer a movie queen, oh dear. The committee had long since withdrawn the awards of a disgraced artist, and they were prepared to be given out again at the next film festival. A mysterious stranger crept into the dressing area before joining Lisa on the red carpet. I knew it was Laura when I found and pulled the figure out of the corner. She smelled foul and appeared to be as dirty and haggard as a beggar. She must have spent the last few days hiding from the cops in a garbage dump. I concealed Lisa behind me and squeezed my nose in disgust. Laura had a wolf-like venom in her eyes. She staggered over to me, her smile more hideous than tears, but I kicked her to the ground. "Marco, please save me," she said. "My family has abandoned me. No one wants me. Don't you still love me?" "I'm married now, lady. What delusional dream are you still having?" "Marco, you ungrateful scoundrel. Without me, the movie queen, what would you be as an ace agent? I am your glory, your badge, and that vase behind you is nothing. Calling me fickle, but you left me and found another." Seeing my heartless demeanor, she tore off her facade, looking mad. I sneered, grabbing her throat and glaring coldly at her. "Laura, I did consider it. I contemplated marrying you because I am genuinely in love with you. However, you have only regarded me as Makoto's substitute for the past several years. To treat me in such a manner, you were completely deaf. When you carved Makoto's initials on our ring, you used his image as the backdrop for your conversation. Have you ever considered me? Laura, people like you don't deserve happiness." I threw her away, staring down at her as if she were trash. Laura stumbled and fell to the ground while Lisa wiped my hands. "Bitch, it's all because you seduced Marco that he stopped loving me," she sobbed on the floor. "Bitch, it's all because you seduced Marco that he stopped loving me." A sharp scream rang out, and a flash of a knife was seen. She had raised a blood-stained knife and charged at Lisa with murderous intent, and the next second she screamed in pain. The bullet left a bloody hole in her hand. The police arrived just in time to witness Laura's attack, so they were able to subdue her. As the police escorted Laura away, the moment arrived for us to stroll down the red carpet. I smiled as I passed the disheveled Laura and said, "Sorry, you're blocking the real movie queen's way.